All right. Continuing the notes from Europe, we're looking at European mountain chains, the big ones. The first one that we, really think about, or I always think about because of World History One, is the Alps. The Alps is the highest range in Europe. Okay. Um, it also, for the most part, it's really connects or I guess what you would say protects Italy from, outside invaders, but it touches Switzerland, Italy, France, and Austria. The Alps is the mountain range that Hannibal will cross, which is really a bold move to try to attack Rome. Um, when you get to World History One, you'll learn all about that. But the Alps is a famous mountain chain, probably the most familiar in all of Europe because it is the highest range in Europe. The Apennines is the spine of Italy. You'll find that in Italy. The Pyrenees is at the border between France and Spain. And then the Ural Mountains, or the Urals, border between Europe and Asia. Um, Here you'll find, and I don't know if you can see my arrow, but if you'll notice right here, you see the boot. Look at the boot. If you're ever looking at a map and it doesn't have anything on it, you can find one thing that you know where you're at. The boot is Italy. You can see the Apennines is going right through the middle, right here of um, Italy. The Alps is up here to the north. All right, that protects Italy from northern invasion. The Pyrenees is right here. It separates what is Spain and France. And then, of course, the Ural Mountains right here. You'll find that in this area that separates Asia and Europe. Whenever you look at a map like this, it's interesting. It does show you a lot about like what Europe really is. You do have larger countries of Spain and France, but where they would really be like states here, but some of the larger states like Texas and whatnot. The United Kingdom, Dublin up here with Ireland. Okay, so you got a United Kingdom here. Then you have Ireland, Portugal, the countries really that people know a lot about because of World War One, World War Two, Germany, Italy. Up here you have Poland. Uh, the yellow would be Russia or the Soviet former Soviet Union, but now Russia. Then you have the Ukraine, Belarus, Romania, your Bulgaria, all your Eastern sort of European countries. Then you have it dots throughout here a lot of you know countries that are kind of small, Central European type countries like Macedonia, Albania, Serbia, Bosnia, Herzegovina, Hungary, Austria, Slovenia. Europe has quite a few countries in there. Up at the top, you have Norway, Sweden, and then up here you have Finland. So the uplands, the hills and low mountains, um, the Meseta is the central plateau in Spain, and the Massif Central is the uplands that cover most of France. Some of the important rivers, the Rhine River is the most important in Western Europe. Um, One of the reasons it's so important, it played a huge role in World War One and World War Two. The Danube River is the most important in Eastern Europe. It transports lots of goods throughout Europe. Um, at least the most important in Eastern Europe. Tons and tons of materials, goods are shipped through this river. The Thames River flows throughout London and is, probably the most famous river in all of England. The Seine River flows through Paris. There you see the Tower Bridge and the London Bridge. Physical characteristics. A strategic waterway is a narrow body of water on an important transportation route or a sea lane. Some of your more important ones are the English Channel. Whenever I think about the English Channel, you think about Great Britain. Great Britain is really was at least early on, when Queen Elizabeth fought the Spanish Armada, she drew them into this, or at least the Spanish commander, the English commander, drew them into this English Channel where the smaller, more maneuverable British ships could defeat the huge ships of the Spanish Armada. And I always think about this. It's the island. It separates the island of Great Britain from France. The narrowest point is the Strait of Dover, which is 21 miles long. So you literally 21 miles, about the distance from, the edge of Martinsville almost to Danville, not a long way from France itself. So English Channel really does, it separates Great Britain and France. It's the narrowest point is the Strait of Dover. Strait of Gibraltar connects the Atlantic Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea. The strait also separates the continents of Europe and Africa. The Dardanelles and the Bosporus separates Europe from Asia Minor. Parts of Turkey is in Europe and the other part is in Asia. Dardanelles is probably, at least in ancient times, one of the most important waterways, as it was a Black Sea trade route where, Russia, one reason Russia constantly tries to control the Crimea or the Ukraine is because of this Dardanelles, strait. Here you see the map of England and you see London. Here is that the English Channel and the Dover Strait right here. That's, almost, you feel like, of course, it's much further. You can't look out of Martinsville and see Danville, but it looks like you could literally just stand on the coast and look across and see France, but, not a great deal of different distance in between those two countries. One thing that was built during this time is the channel. A channel is a tunnel that runs beneath English Channel that connects Britain to France. It was dug underneath the ground, and I do have an interesting video I will put up so you can watch it whenever you get a chance. It is a little bit long, but it is interesting because what they did was France started digging on their side underneath the English Channel, okay? And then the United Kingdom started digging underneath their, part of the English Channel, and they were supposed to meet in the middle, and it was going to link the United Kingdom and France. And there was a lot of problems, and they didn't know if it was actually really going to be, happen. I mean, you're digging in the ground and, kind of trying to figure out where you're going and whatnot. There was all sorts of flooding and problems, but eventually they got it done. So the channel would allow you to travel from the United Kingdom to France without getting on a boat and, sailing across the English Channel. Europe is in the middle of high latitudes, therefore Europe has many different types of climates. And I always think about that. My friends live in England and they, England to me reminds me of a place I lived in California, a little bit rainy, sort of drab, not like, super kind of sunny. But other places have a lot different climates. If you go to Spain, it's going to be a lot different than going to, Germany. Climate is very, very different. Wind currents and ocean currents have a large impact on the climate of Europe. North Atlantic Drift is an ocean current that warms Europe. Europe is also warmed by wind currents called the westerlies. In Northern Europe, there's a tundra and subarctic climates. When you look at um, Northern Europe, I always think about like the Arctic region, cold, just like a lot of Russia, and some of this is in Asia, but a lot of Russia in the north is extremely cold. Western Europe has a marine west coast climate zone. Southern Europe has a Mediterranean climate, and that's just uh, basically due to its location near the equator. All right, North European plain, huge curve of rich farmland from the SE or Southeast United Kingdom to Russia. Smaller plains in Italy, Hungary, and Sweden. So the Netherlands, most of the Netherlands was once covered by the sea, so they had to create what they call polders. Farmland in the Netherlands, to create this, it's almost like I don't know if you learned about it when you talked about South America, but the uh, Chinapas are very similar to this. And if you look at them here, basically earthen dikes built around shallow area of water. The water is gradually pumped away and then drained off of the land. Seawater leaves salt in the soil. Rain gradually washes the salt away. You can't grow anything on salted earth, or it's difficult to. Alfalfa is the first crop grown. It has deep roots to break up the soil. Alfalfa is also used for livestock feed. In time, the land can be used to grow many crops and things like that. There's an area view of the polders. Aerial view, excuse me. You can see the tulips, a windmill in the back. About 33% of Europe is good for agriculture compared to the world average of only 11%. You know, due to its location and climate and everything like that, you do have a large amount of land that is good for agriculture. Venice is known for its canals. Venice, Italy, 120 islands and 150 canals. Built, buildings built on wood pilings is gradually sinking because of the weight of the buildings. You find this sort of thing. It's really a weird, to me, it's a weird thing, but in general, um, you know, it's a it's something that happens when you build on top of, I guess what you would say, water. And there you see the canals of Venice. All right, I'm going to stop right there for today. If you have any questions, let me know. I do have an assignment for you where you just write 3 sentences about how you would go about what you've learned so far in the class. So just let me know 3 sentences um, about things you've learned so far about European geography.